The Bad Boys podcast is brought to you by Iconic Motor House, the guys making your motoring fantasies a reality. Visit iconicmotorhouse.com. Today on the show, we discuss reverse parking, but not the kind in the car.
Did this year's Lamb ad fly or flop?
And we look at what it takes to be a really good con man.
All that and a whole lot more on today's Bad Boys podcast. If you want the hard-hitting journalism of Four Corners, the reliable current affairs of, well, a current affair, and the planning that goes into classy shows like The Project, then you've tuned into the wrong podcast. It's comedy, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and news stories that makes Fox News sound like an episode of The Muppets. Or maybe it's the other way around. Conversations no one wants to have, but everyone wants to hear. This is the Bad Boys Podcast. Welcome to the Bad Boys Podcast, and it's a Friday. We're recording this on a Friday, end of the week.
Thank God it's Friday.
Have a bit of a relaxing weekend. Hey, last weekend we drove up to Beaconsfield. So we're in Tassie. We drove up to Beaconsfield.
Yeah.
And we wanted to see the platypus farm and the echidna farm.
Well, they're farming platypus now?
Well, yeah, they're protecting them. They're protecting them. And right. I mean, I've got to say, well, firstly, I didn't even know that apparently male platypus actually have a poison spike on their rear legs, right?
Right.
The interesting thing about this is that their venom changes every hour. Now, I don't know how this happens, but their makeup of the venom actually changes every hour. So, if you get jabbed by a platypus, there's no anti-venom available for it.
So you're well and truly fucked.
Yeah, and so what happens is your arms swell up, or if it's your hand or your leg or your foot or whatever, it swells up. There's only one cure: amputation.
Seriously?
That's it. Or live with it for the rest of your life, looking like Elephant Man.
Well, let's hope I get bloody stung on the dick, because that could be fabulous. That actually kind of explains that David Attenborough show I was watching about platypuses, where he puts on a bit of an Australian accent, actually. And he says, right, boys, don't go fucking no platypus. And I think that's what he was getting down to, because you can get stung.
Possibly. Or he was getting a little bit delusional and a bit old.
Yeah,
things have a lot of second, like that. Sometimes they have a second meaning, right? Maybe he wasn't talking about that.
Maybe it wasn't him. Maybe it was Joe Biden thinking he was David Attenborough, because Joe Biden sure as most of the time doesn't know even who he is.
That leads me to look on the way there. We parked, right, and I parked into the parking space, and we got out, and
that's a good place to park, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a good parker, you know. I'm very. I make sure that I'm between the lines, you know, and don't sort of take up extra parking or anything like that. So we've gone inside, and the lady's gone, oh, look, we've double booked. Can you come back in an hour? And, you know. So we thought, okay, we'll go and have some fish and chips. Yeah. You know, we're sitting at the park having some fish and chips, and there's seagulls everywhere, you know, and reefs, like, you know, holding back, wanting to throw a chip out to the seagulls. But you know what happens when you do that, right?
Right.
The seagulls just come swarming.
So I know. Tell me, a mate figured out, a mate of mine, we were on Wollongong train station one day with chips and stuff like that, and he learnt what happens when you throw a trip on the train tracks, particularly when an express train comes through.
Not pretty.
Let's just say there were a lot of broken and bald seagulls.
So there's like this family walking along, and this little girl comes running up And I could just see in Reeves' mind, he's like, if I throw a chip right now, that kid is going to have a fear of seagulls for the rest of her life.
It's going to be like Hitchcock the Birds.
So we've gone back to the platypus exhibit, right? And that parking space was still there. And I've gone, oh, look, I can use the same parking space. And Tanya turns to me and she goes, you're so predictable. Do you have to always go into the same parking space? And I looked at her and said, maybe I should reverse park every now and then. Now, Reef was completely oblivious to this whole conversation.
Of course, thank God for that. That's exactly right.
But it got me thinking about double entendres, right? And about, which is a rather big word that I learned. But, like how often do things get said and we completely miss them? I mean, even in kids' shows, right? I mean, it happens all the time.
All the Pixar stuff is built on it. The Pixar stuff has got all of these double entendres going on. So it goes completely over the kids' heads, but the parents get entertained as well.
Exactly. And like there's been some very famous one, right? Mel Brooks said the only thing we don't have a God for is premature ejaculation, but I hear that it's coming quickly.
Yeah, look, who doesn't enjoy a good double entendre? I think a lot of our Australian humour is built on the subtleties of it.
Groucho Marx, a very famous quote from Groucho Marx, I shot an elephant in my pyjamas. How I got in my pyjamas, I'll never know. But
yeah.
do you, with having kids, right, do you sometimes have conversations with Michelle knowing full well that it's going to go right over the kids' heads?
Not anymore, not for the last 10 years. So my kids are like 16, 17, 18.
Yeah.
And anything I say, they pick up on very, very fast. So, look, every now and then, Tom, who's Michelle's boy, he's a bit of a smart ass. He loves a good joke and taking the piss as well. And every now and then, like, he might catch us kissing or something like that. And he's going, oh, that's gross, that's gross. And I just turn around and goes, well, you should have seen her when I smelled slapping her ass earlier.
Oh, no.
It shuts him down every single time.
They just can't handle it. As soon as I point
out the fact that his mother's a sexual being as well.
Yeah, no, they can't handle it. But even when you were a kid, you couldn't handle the thought of your parents.
I still can't handle the thought of my parents having sex.
No. And
God help us.
My father, we used to, go out on a Saturday night and my father piped up one time because we were having a frank conversation. I've said, how did we actually get born? Because I've never actually seen you guys, intimate. And he said, why do you think we made you go out on a Saturday night? And I'm going, oh my God, I didn't want to hear that. And I said, I just don't even think that you guys even would know what foreplay is, And Dad said, yeah, I know what foreplay is. Brace yourself, Glennis, here I come.
Yeah. See, this is one of the benefits of working from home as well, I reckon.
Really?
This whole COVID thing's brought working from home right to the forefront and all that sort of stuff. And, Michelle and I, we've been working from home for 10, 12 years now, full-time for other, places that are too far for us to travel and the like. And it's just nice. It's great when you're working from home because, let's just say the world is your oyster.
A little bit of afternoon delight.
Oh, yeah. Got to love that 2 o'clock time slot.
Except for school holidays. Not good.
Well, yes. It's a bit of a bummer. Pardon the pun.
Hey, did you happen to catch the lamb advert this year for Australia
The lamb
Day?
advert is an institution in this country.
That's what I thought.
The lamb advert.
What did you think?
Every year they do this big fancy lamb advert. Effectively, it's all about lamb bringing people together over a big barbecue, breaking down barriers and all that sort of stuff. And this year, of course, it's all COVID and it starts off effectively like Australia is the only country in the world and literally all other countries have been forgotten because our borders have been closed.
Do we want to play the ad?
Yeah, well, problem is with playing the ad is a lot of it's visual.
Well, we'll play a little snippet, and then what we'll do is we'll describe what is actually happening in the ad. Yeah, so this is a little snippet from the lamb ad for this year.
So we're looking at an empty airport right at the moment with the staff so bored that they're just sort of playing with themselves. Air traffic control's half asleep. Students running into a professor.
For lunch?
There's other countries.
I've explored the four corners of the globe, from Darwin to the southern tip of Tassie. Trust me, there's nothing else out there.
I'll explain this.
It's just handed him a doll from China.
Oh, yeah. Forgot about China.
But we've forgotten there's a whole world out there. And do you know what else happens to the country if we're isolated for too long?
People learn the names of the state premiers.
Yeah, but also the rest of the world forgets about us.
We need to send a message.
Let the world know we're still here.
But how?
Let's have a barbecue.
That's it. Lamb. Just got to get all of Australia on board somehow.
Well, at least 80% of them.
I know a guy.
A national lamb rollout? About bloody time.
And the barbecues are lighting up and they're signalling to each other with smoke signals.
Now, that's something that we need to talk about.
Jeff to Elon.
Go for Elon.
Do you see that? It looks like a giant cutlet.
It smells like a cutlet. The last one there is only a billionaire.
So basically every country in the world is saying Australia exists.
President Biden has congratulated that fella down under.
We're reuniting Australia with the rest of the world.
Woo! Yeah! Hey, Mom! I told y'all Australia was real!
Louise! Planes!
So now everyone's coming to Australia, they're running up the hill, they're running to the barbecue.
Let's open some bubbles!
Nah, we've had enough bubbles, eh?
Good to see the Victorians finally out of the house.
Oh, look, the French are here.
French turn up in a nuclear submarine.
Thank God we don't have to pick our own fruit anymore.
I told you there was a whole world out there. So where do you think you'll go first?
I think I'll stay here a little longer. Perfect.
I've got a few problems with this ad, right?
Yeah.
I've got a few problems. I mean, firstly, what did you think? What were your thoughts on it?
Oh, look, I liked it. I particularly liked the fact it takes the piss associated with, hey, you need to finish sharing your screen so I can see your ugly mug. I like the fact that it was taking the piss associated with the borders and, the fact that we were isolating ourselves from the rest of the world and all that sort of stuff.
I mean, they had a bit of a shot at COVID there about, we should let Australia know, at least 80% of them.
Yes.
Like, basically, we'll only let the ones who are vaccinated know. The unvaccinated can stay in their houses. Yeah, right. So there was a couple of cheap shots. So Sam Kekovich every year does the lamb ads, right? He's known for it, and there's been some really, really clever ones. But I feel like this year missed the mark a little bit. And the other thing that I think that a lot of Indigenous people could take umbrage at is the fires on the buildings, like letting others know through the barbecue fires. Just a thought.
I don't understand the Indigenous link to that.
Well, putting like fires on hilltops, like the American Indians, they would do like a fire to let someone know over
smoke signals. Yeah,
and I kind of feel like it was having a bit of a shot at that.
Yeah, look, I didn't pick up a negative context associated with that. It just more the fact that the collective desire was building up together to be a single signal that was being heard by the world. But look, I do agree in one aspect that the actual lamb ad in itself was not as strong as it has been in previous years.
Yeah, I think.
And look, anybody wanting to watch them, just literal Google Lamb Ad 2021 or Lamb Ad 2020 or Lamb Ad 2019, and you'll see all of the different versions that have been happening over the years that take a bit of a snapshot of Australian culture at that point in time.
Look, I think they're very clever. I don't think that they could have done anything else. They've done the whole nod to the vaccine requirements. They've done the whole link to China thing. I really like where they said, what happens if people stay in isolation too long? They learn the names of the state premiers. I mean, before COVID, I didn't have a clue who the state premier of Victoria was.
Well, let alone WA. Yeah. I mean, they're pretty much on their own. And in fact, WA have just announced today that they were going to open up the borders, but to do so now would be irrational. And basically, the long shot is they're not opening up the borders, which of course we all knew that they wouldn't because, well, McGowan's a bit of a wanker.
Exactly. And the other thing that I think was pretty funny too was that the US President Joe Biden forgot Scott Morrison's name and referred to him as the fella from down under. And I thought
that was in the
clever.
announcement, the AUKUS announcement of the deal between the US, Britain and Australia for the nuclear subs. You're right, he didn't. And if you actually watch that video very carefully, at the point of which he forgot Scott Morrison's name was the point where he was ad-libbing. Whereas later on in the speech, which was completely scripted and teleprompted, he remembered his name at that point. So
he literally doesn't know his name.
Well, Biden, honestly, Biden doesn't know his own name, let alone ScoMo's name.
Yeah, that's true.
Most of the time. I think Biden's been sniffing too many hair products, so...
Yeah, well, we've talked about that, and quite frankly, it creeps me out too much. So anyway, if you want to check that out, rather interesting ad. Hey, now talking about ads, I'm wearing the Man Up Down Under underwear. Can you tell? You can tell by the way I walk, right?
Oh, well, not just that, mate. You're a happier, healthier, chirpier, sexier man all around just by wearing them. Can't see them, thankfully, but... I can arrange that if you like. They're soft, aren't they, mate? Like you literally feel like you're naked. They feel that good. I know. In fact, I like the feel of them. Okay, now I'm getting creepy. I'm actually creeping myself out. But no, look, they're great. They feel really good and really comfortable. Love them. Ross actually sent a couple of pairs, one for you, one for me. I'm glad we didn't get the same pair to share because that would just be awkward. Take turns, maybe. Particularly if I wear them first, I would have stretched the junk area a little bit too much for you. You would have ended up like but they don't stretch. Pillowcase in front. They don't stretch. They don't get baggy. I mean, hey. They're fabulous. I know. I put them on, honestly, and I went outside and just caned it in the garden all day and everything like that. And I got to the end of the day and I didn't even want to have a shower afterwards because I wanted to put them on. It was 4 days later. Only Michelle made you. She's like, you go and have a shower, please. You stink. But down there, my area, my junk, my package was minty fresh. I actually was thinking, as a product idea, maybe even throwing a little fisherman's friend down in there and stuff like that and letting that ferment for a few days. That'll come out very fresh. But yes, Man Up Down Under. And look, I couldn't get over one, how soft and sort of smooth they were, how comfortable they were, how they didn't ride up, not once. Yeah. They didn't plumber's crack on me once, nothing. Like these were top shelf stuff. Yeah. Just fabulous. Yeah. No, I love them. And I would definitely recommend going and getting them. Head over to manupdownunder.com.au and grab yourself a pair or 5 and, see how they feel. So comfortable, so comfortable. You will not want to be wearing anything else. And what do we say? Oh, Man Up Down Under, underpants, cup your junk like the soft hands of an angel. Is it sexy enough for you? I don't know whether I'm turned on or creeped out. Probably just a little bit of both, really. Drop the voice a little bit. Cups your junk like the soft hands of an angel.
Okay, you sound a little bit like Hannibal Lecter there, but anyway.
Yeah, I know. I was about to say my angel's a little bit bloodthirsty, I think.
That reminds me, I saw a meme the other day. I love memes. I saw a meme the other day with Hannibal Lecter, and he said, if the food all runs out, don't worry, we still have each other.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
That's not
Love
awkward
it.
at all. Particularly after last show's discussion about the guy eating the other guy's junk from the grinder date.
This is the Bad Boys Podcast. Now, Andrew, I saw a show last night that you've got to check out. This is on Netflix.
Okay.
This is called The Puppet Master. Now, I know
Puppet Master.
I know we've talked about The Puppet Master on a few episodes previously.
Yeah, there was a turkey you did time with, wasn't there?
The Puppet Master. Yeah, not a nice guy, but this guy's a little bit similar to someone else that we know.
Both knew.
This guy takes it one step further. His name's Robert Freegard. Now, if you get a chance to watch this, it's just dropped on Netflix. Watch this and then watch Ozarks. They're my two picks for the month. So
Nice.
apparently, this Robert Hendy Freegard is his name, and he tricked women into giving them more than £1 million, posing as an MI5 agent.
Seriously.
Now, if I said to you, Andrew, I've just got to tell you this, but I'm actually, even though I'm a host on Bad Boys and I work for Channel 7, I'm actually an MI5 agent, or I'm actually an ASIO spy, and we're going to be under attack. I think you need to come with me, and we need to go on the run to protect ourselves. Now, like the stupidity of that, but this guy convinced these people. There was one.
So this is
woman.
actually what he was saying.
This is what he was saying, right? That it was an IRA set up. That one of the people in the college was connected to the IRA, and it turns out it was according to him, one of the housemates. So he took these three people cross country. And one of the women was with him for 10 years. Right?
And he was just doing the story the whole time.
Right? Getting money from their parents, like, we've got to get some more money. We need to do this to put yourself into witness protection. I mean, this guy was a master con man, an absolute master con man.
Oh, right. So nothing like anybody we've known before.
No.
Really is as dumb as a box of rocks.
Yeah, no, he wasn't. This guy is a good con man. I mean, there's good con men and then there's bad con men. Right? This guy's a good con man.
Meaning very good
Clever,
at what they do.
Clever con man. Yeah.
Clever. And then there's, stupid dick.
Stupid dick con man. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But so over 2 decades, right? While he had one woman locked away, he was fleecing another woman. A lot like this guy was.
So they weren't. He wasn't doing it with these three all at the same time together.
No,
he was doing it separately.
No. So he took these first three away.
Right.
Right. 2 of them split off, and so he stayed with one of the women for a while. And then while he had her locked away in a house saying, okay, you're in witness protection, you can't move, you've got to stay here, he was then off working for a car yard and fleecing another woman. Right, like this is crazy stuff, right?
Great. The usual go-to for MI5 disguises.
But to the point where the owner of the car yard, he'd convinced him as well that he was an undercover operative for MI5. Like,
this reminds me of.
You kind of wonder how stupid people are.
Yeah, but this reminds me of that fabulous show movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jamie Lee Curtis, True Lies.
Yeah.
And the used car dealer who was playing that exact line to try and add some spice into Jamie Lee Curtis's life, who was Arnold Schwarzenegger's wife, into her life. And Schwarzenegger figured out what was going on and basically made the guy piss himself. But because Arnold Schwarzenegger was a spy.
Yeah, and so was she.
Well, she became a spy for
him.
Schwarzenegger, yes, but not the used car dealership guy who was just a sleazy, bloody, dodgy,
pretending,
loser.
So I kind of wonder, like, what makes you believe some people, and like, is it something that they have, like people who are sociopaths? Like, do they have something about them that just makes you want to believe them?
Oh, look, I think, by definition, a sociopath is someone who lacks empathy or has an inability to be able to display or offer empathy. So they can't really care for others, so it's all about them. Not to be confused with narcissists, and certainly not to be confused with, full-blown psychopathy, So the when you're talking people that are con men and stuff like that, they're just usually very effective liars. And the smart con men are the ones who can always keep a step ahead or two of the lies that they've told. The vast majority of con men, like people we've known in the past, are too dumb to even bother getting out of bed in the morning, let alone pull it off effectively. The lies always unravel on them.
Yeah, and sometimes that comes down to alcohol or whatever, that they consume, drugs or whatever, just to keep them, they need to be able to cope,
Yeah.
But look, if you get a chance to watch The Puppet Master, I sat there. We actually watched the whole thing last night. It's only 3 episodes. We watched the whole thing last night and just looked at one another at the end and just went, "You've got to be shitting me! Like this really happened." And he's still out there. And they have, and then one of the women, is still with him. They like it's crazy stuff.
He's still out there.
Still out there. The kids have never seen their mum for 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah. Terrible stuff.
I mean, true story. Like, that in itself is amazing enough. The fact that it's still going on.
Yeah.
And they can't, obviously they can't catch this guy.
They can't, no. And another true story, and this is going to be our shit list for this week.
Yeah. This is shit. Absolutely.
Yeah. So our shit list this week goes to Justin Stein, who...
The guy who was alleged to have murdered that young girl.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he's been caught.
Yes.
He is... he's actually a convicted serious drug offender who is on parole. He was put in prison for 6 years. And it's now come out that the little girl's mother also went to prison. So Andrew, what actually happened with the case?
So more and more stuff is coming out as the inquiry is continuing with it. But effectively, there is this high-profile, multi-million-dollar estate where they were apparently visiting. This estate is owned by Stein's parents, I understand, and managed by his brother.
Right.
And this mother and Stein, he was her fiancé, usually don't have custody of their daughter, but apparently she was spending 2 weeks with them over the holidays. And I think it's about drug-related stuff. The mother was ended up by having an accident high on meth and killed her passenger, who was her friend, in a motor vehicle accident. And
that's how she went
a tragedy
to
in its own right. Yeah. But anyway, this girl went missing. This young 9-year-old girl went missing, and she wasn't reported missing for some 20 hours later.
Wow.
Which, look, everybody thought odd. And look, I thought it was a little bit odd as well. Surely after running around looking and stuff, yelling out names and all that sort of stuff for a couple of hours, you would have. Now, within that period, see, this is the interesting thing, what coppers can do nowadays. People don't realise what they can do. Our mobile phones are a copper's best friend.
Yep.
And not only does our location, no matter where we go, get tracked, and you can switch off location services as much as you want on your phone. It's not going to make any difference because the mobile phone towers all pick you up.
Yeah.
All of that data is logged. So mobile telephone companies, every single mobile phone of every person that's ever walked within a vicinity of a mobile phone tower, it all gets logged in massive databases. In the same way, every speed camera, you'll see all of these traffic cameras everywhere and all that sort of stuff. All of them take photos of every single car, and it all gets logged into a massive database. So if you commit a crime, the coppers just need to go to databases to find your active moments. Now, when it comes to telecommunication stuff, they can just easily get a warrant because there's a suspicion of a crime created, and they go to the telecommunication company and they give them all the information. But all your calls are recorded, or your message text. So he had been having discussions with the mother who had had some type of mental episode. One assumes, and this is complete guesswork on my behalf, after she found out that her daughter had been murdered by him, she went into a mental breakdown and has been heavily medicated since, and police haven't been able to actually interview her. But he had been apparently having discussions with her via mobile phone, needing to go and buy sandbags and a barrel, and effectively he drove her around. So he put her in a barrel with the sandbags, put the barrel into the back of a boat, which was on a trailer, and he was hoping to fuel up the boat and launch the boat so he can go and dump this barrel. Yeah. But he couldn't get the boat to work. Right. So he ended up by driving around and around. So the coppers have got all of this information, all of this data. So his mobile phone will have been pinging off every single tower all over Sydney, time and time and time again, triangulating his position. And to the point that the coppers knew which particular position where he would have dumped the barrel, and sure enough, the barrel was there.
Right. So since then, they found him, right, and they've now obviously he's going through the processes now.
Yeah.
His Facebook page has been smashed by people. Like people just
kill little girls,
writing all sorts of stuff on there. And I've got to say, this guy is not going to last in prison. He'll be gone.
I doubt he will.
He'll be gone, you know.
And look, this is law of the jungle stuff, really. And look, one might even argue it's a little bit natural pre-selection as well. You know, if you've got a fuckwit like that, doing stuff like that, you know what?
There are two things I can't handle. I can't handle things happening to kids, and I can't handle things happening to animals, because they cannot defend themselves. Adults,
I agree.
You know, if you're stupid enough to you know, get in a fight or something like that, I mean, you can do something. And I'm not saying that you know, I'm not making it simple. I mean, like, you know, it's sad that some people get caught in relationships like that. But when you've got a little kid like this, throw the book at him, in my opinion. So he goes on the shit list so far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, look, I'm really interested to see how all of this gets pinned.
Yeah.
And I know his lawyer's already taking the mental health route and all that sort of stuff. And look, you'd have to be fucked in the head to be doing stuff like that anyway.
Yeah.
I hope to God that poor little girl wasn't interfered with first. I really do. And I hope he doesn't get off on some sort of mental health technicality or insanity technicality, because that's fucked.
I think he'll be in holding for a little while, and hey, anything can happen in holding.
Yeah, look, again, you know, I'm a big believer of karma.
Yeah.
You know, good luck to him.
Yeah.
If he's alive to see court, well, then court will sort him out.
Now, Andrew, you mentioned that you mentioned to me before the show the iconic Motorhouse giveaway is just about to close.
It is, yes, that's right. That's the VFR8 Club Sport. This is a black Club Sport. This thing is beautiful. It's had a full custom interior done by one of the industry experts. It's got this, and it's an Alcantara interior worth about $25,000. It's had a cam package, OTR, stall converter, full exhaust systems done. It's got the 22-inch HSV color-coded rapier wheels and brake calipers, and it's also got bag suspension, so you can make your ride go up and down and stuff like that. It's a bit of a thing.
I like that.
Makes the cars look a lot meaner and stuff. Yep.
Yeah, it makes me look meaner.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. But this thing, I mean, this is a gorgeous machine, powerful, sexy. You know, I'd be doing some serious main streeting in this thing. And in fact, if I won this one, I'd be hanging on to it. This is a collector's item without a doubt.
So you'd sell your Camry?
Camry. Yeah. So anyway, but the prize is happening. So it's drawing very, very soon. So entries close on the 21st of Feb.
Yeah.
So you've got to get in there. You've got to buy your tickets and
1
stuff
month.
like that and get in there. Now, the interesting thing, it's limited to 15,000 entrants. So you're not going to have the sort of odds that you'd have when buying a lotto ticket. The odds are way better in your favour. And if you buy them now, they'll actually double your entries.
Yeah,
they'll
nice.
actually be increasing your odds significantly. So
Yeah, cool.
I think you'd be a fool not to be grabbing a bit of this. There are other cars coming up as well very, very soon. And as soon as this one has passed and stuff like that, we'll start talking about them too.
Yep. Excellent. So head over to Iconic Motor House. House is spelt HAUS.com. That's iconicmotorhouse.com, and grab your tickets in the draw. And you'll also get bonus vouchers as well for about 4,500 places around Australia that you can use it. So iconicmotorhouse.com. This is the Bad Boys Podcast. Welcome back to Bad Boys Podcast. And now, Andrew, I don't know about you, but I get lots of invites for pages and groups on Facebook. And I think I've got about 150 pages sitting there that I've been invited to.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
and some of them are pretty weird.
Yeah,
Like you just sit back and go, God, first of all, why does anybody think I would actually want to be?
Yeah, exactly. So I was invited to be part of a group. Now, okay, this group is for men, and it's a men's health group, right? So we're talking about mental health and that sort of, all of that goes with it. Now, if you're going to come up with a name for a group about helping men, like a men's group, you call it the Shed, or you call it the Mate Shop, But no. This guy's decided to call it the Island of Men. Now, there's a lot of islands I'd like to visit. The Island of Men is not one.
Yeah, I'm with you there. The Island of Men, that is a bit odd.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So I was invited to that one, but it got me thinking, what other weird groups are there out there that maybe we could join? Like if maybe we want to join a group, and then we've got, we're in that, that group where I'll take 12, group. What's it called?
Oh, yeah, that's absolutely ridiculous. I'll take 12.
Yeah, exactly. So then I started looking at other groups, and so there's an ADHD and chill, where people can with ADHD can share memes and hang out without being dickheads. No discourse, no shit posting, very little politics, and all the chill.
It's still a little weird.
Island
of Men.
Yeah, misunderstood bitey boys and where to befriend them. Now, it's not what you're thinking it is. It's like, guys who actually like to bite?
Right.
No. This is actually a group that appreciates misunderstood animals with long teeth, like sharks, alligators, big cats, birds. I mean, like...
misunderstood bitey men.
Yeah. Misunderstood bitey boys. And you're not allowed to use the letter N in there. Like that's part of their rules. If you use the letter N, you'll be kicked out.
Right. At all?
At all.
So you wouldn't be able to use the word and.
So misunderstood. So instead of misunderstood, it's misunderstood bitey boys and where to befriend them. I mean, like, that's just weird, right? That's weird.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, very.
Now, this is an interesting one. Dinosaurs against Christians who are against dinosaurs.
It's against Christians who are against dinosaurs. Okay.
What about things found in walls and other hidden findings, where you get to share the things that you found in the walls, dug up in your backyard or in that abandoned house across the street from your grandma?
With that weirdo in South America who opened up one of his walls and found thousands of teeth in there.
Yeah. That's creepy, right?
Right.
So there you go. So yeah, I'd love to hear if you've got any weird Facebook groups. Invite me to them. Let me have a look. I'm all in.
Jesus, mate, you're opening up a can of worms. If anybody wants to invite me, don't. I'm not interested.
Now, something
I've
else.
got better things to do my time than go through millions of offers to weird Facebook groups about sticking things in your ass and stuff.
Because that exists.
Oh,
I think you remember
there's
that
many
one.
of them that exist. That's right, and they keep popping up in comments of different things. And there's a group here on one of these things. Anything is a dildo if you're brave enough. I mean, seriously, I can't believe there's even a group called that. It just gets crazy.
Yeah. There is some weird. Now, something else that's a little weird. The commotion that is actually coming up over the new Sex and the City series. So there's a new series out. It's called And Just Like That. And apparently there are people complaining because of a very graphic scene in the latest episode.
Right.
Now,
okay, so first of all, I've never been a Sex and the City sort of guy.
Yeah,
and I know the
me
show's
either.
not meant for guys either.
No,
so that's a good
it's more
thing.
meant for women, right? It's more meant for women. But I mean, look, it was a bit of an institution, right? And, everyone sort of knows who the characters are and all of that. But there's one scene that happened in this last episode where Charlotte, who was married to Harry, and Harry is an actor who has been on a lot of series. He was Charlie, I think his name was in Californication,
right?
And apparently, in this last episode, Charlotte is on her knees in front of Harry, giving him
a blowjob.
Yes, the daughter walks in, and she very quickly turned and said, "I was checking your daddy's penis for cancer." Now, okay, good cover, good. Wow, let's just throw that into the equation right now.
Yeah.
Now, okay, I've got to say, I don't know about you, but I feel we've been desensitized already. Why do we need to apologise for this? I mean, haven't we been desensitized because of Game of Thrones, for example? I mean, seriously.
See, this is the funny thing. This is part of this bullshit woke culture that's developing. Game of Thrones, they had tits and ass and fannies showing. They had cock showing as well.
Yeah.
And adults that watched it probably were a bit like me when I first started seeing it. It was like, oh, there's a penis. There's a penis.
And then after this, another one.
Right?
Yeah, there you go.
Right. You have a few giggles and you move on. Everybody's happy. But this whole woke culture, I would put my money on it that every single person that complained about that erect penis being shown in that TV show hasn't had cock in a while.
Or watched the episode about 3 times so they could see it again.
Right.
Yeah. And now I'm going to complain.
Right. So they're complaining not because it was shown. They're complaining because it's reminding them of what they're lacking in their life.
But it also brought out another question, and that is, how many actors have clauses in their contracts to say, no, I won't do a nude scene, and especially with Game of Thrones. I actually was at a party with one of there was a film party that was for Gold Coast Film Festival, and one of the actresses from Game of Thrones was there, and she actually said, and it was the girl that the wildling girl, that went around with the giant, and she actually said that they all had a contract, all had a clause in their contract saying they had to do a nude scene, and if they refused, then they wouldn't get the role. That was it.
Interesting.
So that was a condition of their contract. Yet there were some that didn't.
Right.
Obviously,
Yes.
What
there was a number of them that didn't.
Like if you were that actor or actress, would you be like, okay, what's wrong with me? Like, how come?
Well, I think partly it was the movie, and particularly the first 5 or 6 series, if I remember correctly, and I haven't read the book, so I don't know as fact, but from what I understand, the first 5 or 6 series were based on the books, the Fire and Ice series, and they were word for word almost.
Yep.
And then they deviated a little bit because people were busy reading the books and spoiling the end. They didn't want to spoil the end. So if your character in the book is walking around getting their junk out, well, then obviously one assumes you had it in your contract that you needed to.
You would think so, yeah.
Because you're right, there were some that didn't. You didn't see them naked.
Yeah, and unless you actually were familiar with the books and you're like, hang on a second, my character was supposed to do a full frontal and I'm not anymore. It's like, okay. Do I need to do something? Like, do I need to work out?
Because I'm fucked.
Is my belly button sticking out too far?
Right. And see, that's the reason why I've got my no nudity clause in my contract with Bad Boys.
Well, that's going to have to change because we're doing nude swimming on the solstice.
No. You're doing nude swimming on the solstice.
No.
I'm reporting on it.
You're coming to Tasmania and doing it too. No, that's
well,
the deal.
mate. The first thing we're going to find out with me swimming nude on the solstice is not only how cold that water is, but we're going to find out how deep it is too.
Right. Okay. So you're gonna just go in the shallow end.
No. I'm going to be standing on the bridge.
Right. Okay. Hey, now make sure you head over to our website and our Facebook and Instagram page where you can enter to win one of 5 DVDs for James Bond, No Time to Die. We have that competition going right now. I think we're in the last week, so make sure you head over and do that. It is official Bad Boys podcast on social media.
And badboysfm.com if you want to catch some really good music and listen to a few shows. There's a few little extras on there for people that want to have a good laugh.
And some good sultry tunes as well.
Of course, can't forget those sultry tunes.
Thanks, guys.
Take it easy.
Press plus or follow to hear more great episodes from the Bad Boys. Or check us out on our social media at Official Bad Boys Podcast on both Facebook and Instagram.
That's awesome. Done. Like a dinner.